Hi everybody, MVP here. Just want to talk to you about the weekend in the 26th of August, trading week just gone, and just who were the risers and fallers and what else happened in the week. Okay, if I just get you to focus on this chart and this chart, I just want to explain what they are. This is the US 30, this is the Dow last week, this is the start of the week coming in on the 19th. Sorry, more like about the 22nd, coming in through to the 26th, the 5 working days there. And this is my FX correlator, which is available at my Trade to Win site for free. It's on a 501 setting. I've got it on a 4-hour. I'll just to give you an idea, I use the 4-hour just to get very much of a broad overview of what's happening. And very simply here, you've got 8 currencies. If you see a currency falling, that means it was falling at that point in time. And if you see a currency going upwards, gradually trending upwards, and that means it was doing well during the week. This was the start of the week, coming in Monday 22nd. This is the end of the week. So we're just going to quickly go through the currencies now and talk about the winners and the losers. Okay, just to summarize what I look for. This grey line here is the Dow, the mighty Dow. And this is a 20 moving average here on yellow, and a 80 moving average there, the red in bold. What I'm looking for generally is if I see global markets as driven by the Dow futures here, the mighty Dow. If I see them rising, I tend to look for certain currencies that will probably fall on that kind of information to drop. And likewise, certain currencies that will look to rise generally when we see rise in equity prices. Okay, I'm going to bring this down now and just show you what happened during the week. And as you can see, coming through, generally, it didn't take too much to realise that this was actually quite a good week. You can see Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and even Thursday up to a certain point. Certainly coming into the US session, that was a lot of the week where the equity markets were recovering, which was good news for stocks and shares. So let's have a look and see what happened to the currencies because of this. Okay, in terms of this movement, I would expect to see, based on this, I would expect to see certain currencies fall during this period. The currencies I expect to see fall during this period will be the yellow yen, which in fact it did. As you can see, it came in here, fell certainly through towards the end of the week. I also expect to see the Swissy generally fall. This is a Swissy in grey, and as you can see, the Swissy definitely fell aggressively. And if you do follow the markets, you'll realise that both of the governments and the banks involved, national banks involved with this, will be happy to see that. They are constantly trying to reduce the value of their currencies at the moment because they're both considered to be overbought. So they were looking to drop them to increase, obviously, their country's prosperity and export more money, make their products cheaper. So that clearly was expected. The US dollar does tend to fall as well during this and work with these two guys. It didn't. It stayed flat. Here it is coming in the greenback in green coming through. Yeah, it did fall early part of the week, but actually recovered. So actually, all in all, the greenback had a pretty flat week, to be perfectly honest. That's really what I'd expect to see. And it did happen. Okay, so in terms of fallers this week, we certainly had a fall in yen, we had a fall in a fall in Swiss franc. Other currencies that surprised me, I'll tell you what was a surprise this week. Look at the pound. The pound really got hammered this week. We've had various news coming out, but just not good news really. People clearly had decided that they weren't too happy with it. If I just drag this back, you'll see that last week it had a very good week. Okay, so perhaps people were profit taking, but look at that. And basically in the 2-week period it's come up and now it's come off. Swings and roundabouts, unfortunately. That's the nature of the beast in trading. You can never sit on something for too long. The days of investing and sitting on things for months has gone. It's all about fast volatility now, especially in this market and the current economic climate. Okay, looking through, they were the main fallers then, in summary. In terms of risers, what do we expect to see? Well, again, because global equities has a good run in the early part of the week, I do expect to see certain currencies behaving well. I expect to see the Aussie dollar behaving well, and here it is. This is the Aussie dollar, comes in at the start of the week there in a nice gold colour, and it has a nice steady run through. It's a great run in the week, and actually probably the best performing currency of the week. It stayed north pretty much all through the week and was a good solid buy. Other currencies that did well, the Canadian dollar did okay actually. People say that Canadian dollar is heavily linked to oil. I need to be convinced more on that, but generally it had a good week. A little surprising. I like to think that moves more with the US dollar and the yen, but this week, I don't know, it was flat to rising. Good week for that. As you would expect, the New Zealand dollar, which tends to trend fairly closely with its Aussie brother, they had a good week. So that was a good week. You stepped in all week there and made money. A little bit of a hiccup middle of the week, but then it picked up through. And last but not least, I don't know if you can see it tucked in there in the darker blue here. It says Euro. Euro comes in at the start of the week here. Poor Euro has been under so much of an attack in the last few weeks. It's untrue, but clearly with a rise in equities market that will tend to support the Euro and assisted a bit with some buoyancy there. Yeah, it did okay. Clearly, there wasn't too much disastrous news that came out too much about what the Euro was doing, and it held flat to rising. Good week for the Euro. So I think I've covered all the currencies there, and you can see the rises and the fallers here. So I hope you did okay on that. As you know, my tip for the full year is actually the yen, the Swiss dollar, and this week was a poor week, but that doesn't surprise me. It swings and roundabouts. Okay, while we're on the subject, let's just see how the currencies are doing this year. This is coming back to the start of the year. Again, the same rules apply. I'm still on a 500. I'm on a daily here. Let's just see who the winners and losers are so far. Coming in at the start here, at the start of the year, coming through to, I think this was around the end of this period here, was probably to about mid-year, the Swissy has had a good run this year so far. I predicted it for the second half, and clearly, as we come towards the end of August now, oh, phenomenal! Look at this. But unfortunately, as you can see, and this is all due to the effects of the Swiss National Bank, various other things. The Swiss National Bank was not happy with the progress, and it has really put a stymie in that rise. However, all in all, it's still going quite well. I'm quite comfortable with that. Most other things there of note. Euro's actually had a good year so far. Look at that. Had a great first 3 or 4 months. Struggled a bit, as we know, last couple of months. But you know what? It's starting to pick up again. So not too bad. If you want my tip for the rest of the year, I'm still going to stick with the Swissy. I'm not convinced that equity markets are going to recover that much this. Certainly not the equity markets that are indicative of driving these guys, which is more the Western economies. So I'm pretty comfortable. I'm going to stick with the Swissy, and I'm going to back on the fact that people will keep returning to the Swiss franc and buying it, and the Swiss National Bank will not be able to recover from that. So I'm pretty comfortable there. I'm also, if I was going to take a tip, I'd probably follow the yen as well. As you can see, the Bank of Japan has done a much better job in stymieing any big growth here recently on the yen. But again, their days are numbered, and again, the markets are stronger than any particular government or country. So again, I could see this coming up here, especially if equities are flat or falling second half of the year. Okay, so enough of all of this. I don't offer this on my free Trade to Win site, but if people want to understand what gold's doing, let's just switch across here and talk about gold for a second. Here's 7 of the currencies that I've shown here. This was what we just talked about, okay? And you will see the patterns not as prevalent, but the patterns are exactly the same. Risers and fallers there, down here, fighting amongst one another in similar patterns to here. But what this does, it actually incorporates gold. Gold is in relative price to all these currencies. This is not gold in dollars, it is gold in gold, relative to a basket of all the other the other 8 currencies here. Can you see this week again, gold's had a fantastic week. You, again, read the papers, go out there and look around. Gold is just doing so well. So again, this week, whilst I may be saying that certain currencies did well down here, relatively, look at the Aussie dollar. The Aussie dollar actually was relatively flat compared to what gold was doing. Phenomenal. Let's just drag this back. This was last week. Had a fairly good week as well. It came off a bit, but it has really picked up this week. And week before as well. As you can see back here, this was about 3 weeks ago. I was talking at the time that the Swissy was actually on par. They were swapping blows with one another. But again, as we're seeing, this is when generally coming into middle of August, this is when the Swiss National Bank seriously intervened. Once people realised that, they said, hey, let's buy gold. Why not? No one can intervene on the gold price. It's a totally independent currency, not affected by any national country or economy. And they stepped in, and they've done well. A little bit of a collapse in the last couple of days, but that's life. That's profit taking, and probably various other reasons. So that's how gold's been doing. Last but not least, we're going to take a lightning visit through my 80-20 system. Here it is up here. It's available free at my Trade to Win site. Very soon to have a website as well, so you can download it free from there with probably a little bit more of explanation how to trade it. This is an 80 moving average setting for my FX correlator. This is a 20 moving average. And it's set on the same moving averages over here, which is the US 30. This is the Dow. So here's the 80. Here's the yellow 20. What I tend to do, as I've already explained, when I see equities rising, generally above both trend lines, what that signals to me is I look to be selling, especially the yen and the dollar. So over here, if I see the yen and the dollar both below the lines, that to me is a huge trading signal, and I look to hunt to buy currencies that are above their zeros. Okay, I step in, I trade. I don't necessarily follow any particular currency because I'm not aligned to that. I'm affiliated to any currency that is demonstrating the fact that it is rising as these guys are falling. Okay, it's not perfect every time, but it does give you an idea and quite a good trading platform to look to trade. So very quickly, if we say that the first 3 days, certainly 3.5 days of the week, we were looking to sell the yen and the dollar. Let me go through it. Here was a trade here. Okay, Monday, early US session. There was a trade there. Then coming through the Asian session, again, big trade here, huge trade here, and there's quite a lot of currencies that you made money on there. A couple of hiccups here, bounced through again, then gradually slowed down a little bit on Wednesday, but gradually the markets were starting to lose momentum now. They were losing momentum as this tailed off, and the signal was to forget it for a while. Then going into Thursday and Friday, there was an all change. Clearly, because the Dow doesn't breach its 80, I kind of stayed off the accelerator here, and I stayed out of things. And really, if anything, there wasn't really any significant trades then until it got back above its 80 and 20 here. See, back end of Friday, come back in again. And as you can see, I was looking to sell these guys again. They didn't all get together until very late in the game. You see this literally at close. Look at that yen holding off, and that's a real shame. If you decided to use faster indicators, you could have traded that. My 80-20 is a very slow, steady eddy trade, so it didn't get you into any trades on the back end of Friday. But there was certainly plenty of money in the first 2 days and possibly into the third day if you were hunting hard and fast 2-1 hours. Okay, this is MVP signing off. Hope you have a good trading next week. Good trading week. Monday is a holiday in the UK, so I don't think the FTSE is up. So I certainly won't be trading. I've got other things I've got to do. Have a great week. You know where to get me. This is MVP signing off. Cheers. Bye.